Man versus yoga.
And Man vs. Yoga, Episode 2, Man performs his existential interview series with yoga music fusion guru, Alice Seitzer. Please welcome in Jim Ball.
Bliss. Welcome. You have landed on Man vs. Yoga, Season 3, Episode 2. My name is Jim Ward, and we come to you from the great Austin, Texas. I'm Jim. This is my trusty sidekick.
Yes, I thought you weren't going to mention me.
No. This is my trusty sidekick, Gunter. He's a little jumpy today. How you doing, Gunter?
Oh, I have all the uppers in the world. I'm ready to start this.
I love it when he's on uppers, too. Willie, hi. Sarah, it's our newest staff member. Thank you very much for your help with the social media. And esteemed guests that we have. We will be doing some polling later, so be ready for that. Sarah has been handling our social media, and I am going to get in so much trouble if I don't push this. manversusyoga.com is our website. Our YouTube channel, if you subscribe to it, you win a wish. And you really do.
A date with me.
And you win a date with Gunter. You win a wish or a date with Gunter. You know, because we already know that would be everyone's wish, right? A date with Gunter. It's my wish. I mean, it's everyone's wish. So this is also the first episode that we are having the Man vs. Yoga Existential interview series. And we are having an amazing Yogini musician, astrophysicist. She's not an astrophysicist, but she is the first to. Alice Seitzer on here shortly. But first and foremost, let's address the elephant not in the room anymore. Our studio, we got robbed. You may notice things look different. Either a very fervent fan or a fervent supervillain, which most supervillains tend to be fervent, came in. So last week we were going to record. I was the first person here, and it was completely empty.
The first time you're ever the first person. Usually the last.
Yes, he's right. But they took everything. I mean, they even took Buddy, my dog, Buddy Zatva. I'm just kidding. Hey, come here, buddy. Yay, good boy. But Buddy's here and okay. He actually. I'm just kidding. I feel badly now. If they took Buddy Zatva, my gosh, my neighborhood would be the ones with pitchforks and torches. But as you can see, the Buddy Zatva is safe and sound, unlike the rest of our studio. They took everything. It's really weird. So it's a perfect segue into this episode's Duplicity of Yoga. In this episode of Duplicity of Yoga, we discuss the light and the dark that exist in all of us and why people are so dark that they would try to steal my soul. You know, they tried to take the welcome gnome. You guys didn't get to meet the welcome gnome during the first episode, but this thing is a family heirloom of Gunter's from his village in Germany, Azerbaijan.
Almania.
And this was a smoking gun and how we found them. So yeah, in this duplicity, it truly is showing the light and the dark, because with this gnome in the right hands, you can find anybody because it's traceable. There's only 3 in existence. And that's one of them. That's kind of creepy.
Sorry.
So no, you're okay.
It's a source of power.
It is. It's a source of immense power, and in the wrong hands, the world could end. Luckily, it's in my hands, though. So, Gunter, so I just said, at all costs, like, wink, wink, like if we got to off people, off them. They took our set. So how'd you do it?
Well, we had the collective effort with the universe. We were tipped off that somebody
Bliss.
had posted a ransom notice on the Craigslist collectibles. It was $1,200 they were asking for this.
That's all?
It's worth much more than that. But,
Yeah.
And they wanted payment in Bitcoin. I think we got a screenshot of it. And I was able to meet them in a parking lot nearby.
So Willie was telling me off the record, this is all off the record until now, because I am the record. So you smited them. You swatted him down.
Well, I chased them down with my cattle prod, or it's a mosquito.
Mosquito, yeah, electric mosquito
You know,
swatter.
so the official story, I'd say.
I always thought that was a cattle prod. He kills mosquitoes with a cattle prod. I'm not kidding. Like, the man dislikes mosquitoes.
Yes.
So you use your cattle prod on them.
They.
What did he say? Like, did he just go flying?
It was a they that never confirmed the gender. I don't see gender.
Gunter doesn't see gender.
No, it's not a thing. Not where I come from.
Yes. Bliss.
And I was able to recover the welcome gnome and several other possessions too.
Thank you.
So I have to thank Fairy Dust. I don't want to post the email address of the tip off, but the Fairy Dust from the universe for tipping us off to my lost family member.
And the lesson in there is, as soon as you think you have the drop on us, a member of the universe, we are everywhere. We really are everywhere. Because the tip that you got was just spot on money. And within like 16 hours, everything had come to a head, and he'd apprehended and cattle prodded. The perps.
Yes. Mosquito swatter, yes.
You mosquito spotted those perps and got back everything that you were able. What bothered me more than anything was feeling violated in a way that was just wrong on too many levels. Rob Lowe used to have to get boxes of Hanes t-shirts.
Oh my goodness.
Hello, Austin.
Oh, the art police, after all.
Exactly. What bothered me the most was just feeling violated that someone would be so overly fervent that they would go to such lengths. I've read where Rob Lowe used to have his Hanes t-shirts stolen by girls that he'd spent the night with so they could say, hey, I slept with Rob Lowe. I now can relate to him on more than just the two levels that we had, that were our looks. That's the way I feel. And I get it in a way, but that doesn't make it right. Just because you want something, something beautiful, something you can't have, you can't steal. And doing it in the name of this or that cause is just complete crap. So that's it. Trying to discern the light from the dark is very difficult. So choose carefully. And such is the duplicity of yoga. So now I'm so excited for the Man vs. Yoga Existential Interview Series, Part 1. This is my yoga teacher, and frankly, the greatest yoga teacher in the world, Alice Seitzer, and I'll let you be the judge. Here's the interview. Hi there, welcome to the Man vs. Yoga Existential Interview Series.
And our first interview, I'm so excited. I actually have been waiting for this person to be available. And it's funny, she is so busy. Scheduling her and getting her on here was like the time we got Mullah Omar in the Tora Bora Cave Complex. I'm serious. I mean, people lost their lives over that, but this one was easier. So it's Alice Seitzer. Alice, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm really happy to be here and talk with you. And I'm glad we coordinated schedules.
Thank you very much, Mullah. So I know Alice because she is my yoga teacher here in Austin, and she is an expert with incorporating live music into her yoga classes, which are outside always. So first off, how long have you been doing that, like music and yoga together live?
So I've been a yoga teacher. Let's see, how long is it? It's been like 13 years at this point. And I've been doing the live music yoga for about 10 years now. Oh. Yeah. It started in California.
What was the impetus?
Okay, so music is like, it means so much to me on so many different levels. Like, it's been a healer for me in my life. It's been like, I play music in a band, and like, that's a huge part of my life as well. And like, when I see music, when I like go to shows, I see colors, and like, I can feel it in my body. So it's like, when I felt it in my body and when that continued to happen at live shows, and I'm a yoga teacher, those two things just kind of naturally combined. I was like, oh, like if we listen to music with not just our ears, but all of us, then why not bring it into the experience so that we can like intentionally tune in and be like, this is what I'm doing right now. Like, I'm listening to music with my whole body and feeling it.
So how do you know which musicians? I mean, we're in Austin, Texas. So how do you know who to pick? Because it's always spot on.
Well, we were talking about this a little bit before we pressed record today, but I really don't believe that anyone is in my life as an accident. So like, I'm a musician, so that gives me a natural in and like connection with other musicians. But when I meet someone, I have a feeling about them, and like, they have to be a musician that's not afraid to improvise, because these classes are all about improv. Like, I'll plan a little bit of a theme of it, but really me, the musician, and all the people are creating this class, which is like, I don't know, I think about the Buddhists that make the intricate mandala in the sand and then the waves wash it away. That's kind of what this is too. We're creating this, like, it's almost an art piece each class, you know? So I kind of just know, I guess. And when people ask me if they can do it, like, that shows me so much. It means that they're like in on the yoga experience, they have ideas for improv, and that they like want to be there. So, I mean, just them asking me, I'll be like, okay, yeah, let's give it a try. Like, sure, you know.
I would wonder if they would be intimidated or not, because that is a weird environment, I would think. You know, I mean, have they been? Has anybody, like Grego, for example, who you have all the time, it's like a magic carpet ride, as someone called once. But so what? I mean, are there any instruments that have worked really well? It's almost like they play like whatever they make.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I love. I actually don't like to give too much direction to the musicians. I've had a couple that have been like, what exactly do you want me to do? And I'm happy to give more of an explanation, but I also kind of tell them, like, trust yourself. I want you to play whatever music is inside of you and in your heart and comes to you at that time. So I don't really give too much instruction, because that's not what it's about. But Grego was not nervous at all. He was like, yeah, totally. Like, he just kind of jumped in, and me and Grego have really fine-tuned a lot. He's the musician I've worked with the most with this yoga, and we want to bring it to music festivals, and like,
yeah,
we need to like have another talk about this. And like my fingers are dipped in a lot of different areas right now, because I'm also a wilderness therapist for teenagers. So that's like livelihood over here. So
well, I wanted to get into that. So one thing we hadn't talked about. So the classes are in Alice's backyard. So first off, that's the most relaxing place I have in the entire city. I'm totally serious. It's like it's slanted perfectly to where if you don't know it well, like the first few times, you're gonna like learn, but in the shade too, you learn to move with the trees. That and I told her this before, but I probably had gone to 10 classes where it had rained, and in the middle of summer, fall, whatever, it rained every time, and I was so afraid that she was going to cancel. And I said that to her one time, and she said, her response was, "I'm very stubborn." I don't know if you remember that. but how do you do you incorporate yoga and nature? Like, obviously, do you ever teach indoors? Like, I can't imagine that, actually,
I prefer to teach outdoors all the time. I haven't taught indoors for like a group class in a long time. With private clients, sometimes we'll go inside, but I much prefer to be outdoors. And like what you're talking about is kind of like being flexible in a spiritual and emotional sense, as well as you're like cultivating flexibility in your muscles and body, but like following the signs of the natural world, where the sun is on the yard, like where the slant is on the ground. And like, if it's raining outside, what do? We embrace the rain, or if we're wearing a headset mic, we go underneath the porch or throw the mic to the side, you just, it's like what I was saying earlier. It's like nothing happens by accident. What message does the rain have for us right now? Oh, looks like we need to like allow things to wash away in our life. Maybe we have some energy that we need to have washed away by the rain. Oh, it's really hot out. Maybe we need to slow down and do some more cooling postures, oh, this tree has something to say. I talk to trees. I'm not afraid to.
Yeah, no, totally.
They have so many messages for us. So like, oh my God, thank you, tree, for this shade today. Like, you got me. And like, once we realize that we can develop that relationship with the natural world, we just opened up a whole new support network that is literally around us all the time. Even when we're inside, like the ground is still holding up the house or the building, we have it around us all the time. So
the great thing about you is you are so just noble. If you were a gas, you would be inert, put it that way. So you talked about your background with music. What instrument do you play?
I play the violin or the fiddle, depending on my mood.
Okay, so that's where I was going. What's the difference between a violin and a fiddle?
Okay, I'm going to answer with a joke. The difference between a violin and a fiddle is that you can spill beer on a fiddle.
All right.
So what that basically means is it depends on the style you're playing, like classical or jazz or like even funk, I would say, could be called violin, and then bluegrass and country and like rock and roll fiddle, I would say. So it just depends on your style, but same instrument.
What do you prefer?
Depends on my mood. I play a lot of bluegrass, but I really love the Grateful Dead is my favorite band, and I like improv. So if it's more on the jazzy side of improv, it would be violin. But if it's like a shit stomper, like jam grass, it would be fiddle. But like, sometimes I just like to fuck with people too, and just kind of like go in between. And I don't know. It's good.
David Blackman, do you know him? He played with a few bands a few times, like Widespread Panic.
Oh, so he's the violinist that plays with Panic. I had somebody told me to check him out.
Used to, yeah. Back on like Space Wrangler, he's the violin player on all those like Mikey hits or whatnot.
I've definitely heard him. Like I've heard some of those tunes, but I haven't like dived deep into it.
No, Dovin's good. Dovin works. I dove in all the time.
Yes. Hey, what are words anyway?
It's my favorite Olympic sport, actually, the twin Dovins. So who are your favorite like violin players? Or electric violin and violin are the same thing, right?
Well, that's a little bit of a different instrument. Like if you're getting an electric violin, it's usually not made of wood. It's kind of like a acoustic guitar and electric guitar, if you think about it like that. Like I have an acoustic violin that plugs in and is amplified and stuff, but that's because I installed like a little plug-in on it. with an electric violin, it's like built of like a non-natural material. So it's like made of like, oh Lord, sometimes it is made of wood, but it's built in with like the plug in, like already created in there. So it was made for amplification, whereas the acoustic violin like can be played without being amplified.
So what does Kang play with string cheese?
He plays an acoustic violin. I'm
Okay,
pretty
that's what I
sure.
thought.
I think
Yeah.
he's played electric before on some of those, but I think mostly he plays an acoustic violin with a pickup.
So who else? Michael Kang is the obvious one in my head that you're just like, my God. Who else is there out there right now that you like?
Okay, so my newest obsession. So there's 3 that I'm thinking of, and 2 of them have been my teachers. So I used to take lessons from Ali Corral from Yonder Mountain String Band.
Oh my gosh, cheers to that. Wow.
Yeah, she's amazing, and she helped me so much, and like really in like the feeling of the music and letting go of all the reservations that come with comparison and playing with other musicians. Like there's a whole host of like emotional things you get to work through when you start playing with a bunch of people, but she's amazing. And like, I think about her and I channel her when I'm on stage. And that's actually why I wear like a sundress every time I play, because she always does that. So I channel Allie when I'm up there. Cool. Christian Howes is amazing. And he puts out so many instructional videos on YouTube. I started following him and it's free. Like you can like take lessons from him for free basically, because he does it all the time. And his specialty is transitioning classical violinists to improv violinists. And I was trained classically. So you have to learn how to not look at a page and how to listen. And so he does that. And he has helped me, oh my gosh, so much. And now I take lessons from his kid. So it's, yeah.
That's fascinating. So just so I understand, so you played the acoustic violin. That's like your main.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it more fun? Like, so I play electric guitar, and acoustics are acoustics, I mean, I can play it, but it's not as fun for me. Is it the same sort of dynamic?
So I've only played an electric violin one time in my life.
Wow.
And that was when I was like I haven't thought about this in years, but I was in like 9th grade, and I was in orchestra class, and there was this person who came up. Oh my God, what is even happening in my brain right now? There's this person that came in
9th grade,
and they brought an electric violin in, and they were like, does anyone want to play this? But you had to play it in front of the class in order to get to play it. But I did it anyway, because I was so curious. So it was cool. And they were actually trying to teach us how to improv, but I remember it being so daunting for me.
In 9th grade? Yeah. I mean, I say that though. Isaac's 16.
Oh my God, Isaac's, he's amazing. He teaches me all the time. Talk about somebody with like such an incredible ear. So Isaac's the one of the guitarists in my band, Wandering Pines. Y'all should come. Monday residency is probably continuing all year. So
Wandering Pines and Isaac Garcia, he's exceptional. And I know a few other people in our band, and they're all individually exceptional. And the Monday residency, what time does that start?
It's for this month, it's 7 to 8:30. So
Yes.
it's a little more accessible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay. 9:30 on Monday nights is hard.
I know, that was last month. It was really fun though. It pushes us to really create new things, because like I love jam bands and I'm not trying to play the same show ever, like especially next to each other, so I've learned so many new songs in this past month. It's good for my brain.
Totally. And so how do you fit it all in, and how do you prioritize? You do everything. My gosh.
It's tricky. I actually was just thinking about in this life, sometimes I have to close doors in order to give really quality to the things that I care about. So it's constantly exploring like, what is my inner truth right now, and where do I want to put my energy in the way that I believe like I want to be in the world. And what I mean is I want to do things with intention and love, and I want to be there. So that's when Jim, I was like, I am a yes 100% to being here with you today. Like if I say yes to something, I want to be there, like spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Like I don't want to half-ass it. So that being said, it's really hard to fit it all in, because I'm like excited about so many things, but I may have to cut out something in my life. I think I discovered that today, which is
You're like a puppy.
I know. I follow what's over here. Yeah.
But that's a great thing. I mean, and on that note, so we were in a class, and so her classes are streaming live, right? And so she burped, and she's like, "Oh, I burped," and she's like, or maybe I didn't. And I'm kind of, and then she busts into the song. You bust into the song of like I'm a human too, and I know you work with kids. What was that song? Because last episode I tried to like recall it and sing it, and I fell on my face.
So it's so funny. We were talking about this earlier, and the thing is, like, I don't even know what I was singing. Like sometimes when I do something or I'm like teasing myself, I'll just like sing something random. And that was definitely that moment. I was just like, oh, I burped. Look, I'm a human. And I just like sang it.
But no, you had like 3 or 4 lines, and it's recorded. You know what I mean? I literally, as soon as we're through with this, I'm going to go back and look and find that. It was so awesome.
Jim, does this mean that I need to write a new song using that lyric?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I've got your toe tapper. I mean, and it came, it came to you in a moment of intestinal fortitude.
Gotta sink into those, primal functions. Whatever. It's like when you do things like that, like who cares? I burped, whatever, and it's like, it gives other people permission to be vulnerable and just like be a human, which is actually difficult in our society because there's so many, like, we're told don't feel, hold it all in, like be smaller, be whatever, and it's like, no, just be a human. That's all we have to do, what a relief.
Well, totally. And, it's so what's easier, working with kids or working with like the people that come to your class, like when it's really big and ornery?
So I work with teenagers. And
okay. Even worse, right?
Oh my God. So I want to put a plug in for teenagers, actually. I think like people can get really like frustrated and scared and just like, oh, teenagers, exhausting. But I believe that the teenage years are the most like exploratory and heart opening and adventurous and like authority challenging and just like badass years. And it's like, I get to be around that and get challenged all the time. And I did run groups. I've run so many groups with teenagers, and like, I've been called a bitch and told to fuck off more times than I can tell you. And it's not about me though. It's never about me. It's always about like, oh, like, sweetheart, you need some more love. You've been through a lot of shit,
Oh my gosh. That's insane. Kind of, I'm sorry you had to go through that.
But what I'm saying is like, that it's okay because they weren't actually calling me a bitch. They were getting out something, and like, it had everything to do with their experience and this like feeling inside of them that was overwhelming, because these kids didn't really think that. And I would say 100% of them came to me later like, Miss, I'm so sorry. Like, accept me, love me, side note, like, please don't reject me now. I was angry, and
that's really nice.
Yeah. So it's like, it's about the repair, like whatever. Anyway, I really veered far from your question though. I would say
no.
It's different. It's different qualities, and then working with.
Well, yeah, and to let people know what we're talking about, sometimes she will have at music events or whatnot, how many people, 30, 40 people just coming in the middle of class, and she's able to control, and a lot of us have been up all night or whatnot, like haven't seen each other, friends in town, whatnot, catching up. And so a lot of people are scattered. I'll just say the next morning. How do you corral everyone? I'm totally serious. I mean, how do you do that?
Here's the thing that I sometimes forget about my life and myself since I've become a yoga teacher. So I've taught yoga in so many different like wild and random settings that nothing fucking surprises me anymore. Like, can I tell a story about my old yoga studio? Okay, I'm not going to name his exact name, so I'm going to change it just for his.
What does it rhyme with?
I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to make up a new name.
Okay.
So, but there's importance in the name. So there was this dude.
We'll call him Richard. Okay,
that was good. So there was this dude, and he was called Naked Richard because he would come into the yoga studio naked and try to do naked yoga. So the owner of the studio, we had to like talk to him, and he just like had to wear a loincloth or something. But this guy would come into my classes like halfway through, and he had an odor to him as well. That's what I'll say. And he'd just fucking pop open an avocado and sit on his mat and like eat that. And I was just like, oh, like, and what was he doing, y'all? He was being a human. And like, it really wasn't that distracting. I just thought it was hilarious. And, you know, we have to set boundaries, but like, man, I have encountered, and I've taught yoga in residential rehabs, like actually a significant amount. Because I
Wow. That's heavy.
So people are fucking detoxing and like going through the trauma that comes like when you're like going through recovery and just like weaning off the drugs. Going through that and then trying to do yoga at the same time, like, man, I have so much compassion for them, and all their emotions come out. So I've heard, I mean, those are the times that like I get some pushback, and the energy behind it is another thing. So really, Rancho Yoga, which is the place that Jim is talking about, after the show, like now I've shifted the time to noon because it's far more accessible, and I stay up way later than I used to. But it just feels beautiful. And like, I have to take it off myself. It's not my job to control the energy. It's my job to be a reflection and get the honor of like witnessing the experience. Like when I take it off myself and being like, oh, I'm in control, because that's bullshit. Nobody's in control. Then it just flows. It's like trust, you know, that we all, like, the class is just going to create itself, and it's going to be what it's going to be.
Well, it's perfect. I mean, and that setting, I talked about it earlier in the earlier show about that one class. It's still my favorite class of all time. I had, excuse me. So turns out Natalie was next to me. I didn't know her at the time, but it started off, you're like, give yourself a pat on the back. And she literally did, gave herself like a hard one, you know.
I remember that. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, Jim. There is going to be some barking maybe, but
there may be barking. Actually, my dog, I trained him not to bark, so we don't have to worry about it, but he's asleep right here. Is it
Natalie gave herself a pat on the back.
Well, yeah. So, and I laughed out loud, and I've never done that in yoga class because I considered like in the studio, it's so freaking, you know, staid and just sterile, and there's all these rules and decorum and whatnot, and you know, laughing, are you kidding? Like, I would never have done that. And then we just like, and she is probably the nicest person in the world too, and the funniest. So yeah, that was just the most fun class. And this is why I know you're tougher than nails. It was raining that morning, and so we're camping, by the way. And so I'm in my tent, and I'm just laying there hoping to God that you don't cancel the class, right? And so Leo walks by, you know, and I just overhear this. And so what do you think about yoga? And I scream from my tent so obnoxiously, and I'm so sorry, but I'm like, yes. And I hear you go, yo, yeah, of course. I'm like, wow, I just met Alice. So, you know, did you remember that? Like,
I remember that. Yeah. I was so just appreciative of your energy, and like, man, like laughter should definitely be in yoga. Like I said, we're all just trying to be human, and yoga's hilarious. Like some of those postures, like what the fuck are we doing right now? You know, like it's great. It's like, yeah. But yes, I don't cancel classes. Like actually, y'all, before the freeze happened last year, it was like a couple weeks before the freeze, I think we had snow, and we had snow yoga. My musician was down, and we had snow yoga.
that's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's been a goal of mine, is to practice snow yoga. I'm totally serious.
It's beautiful. Oh my God. We like stayed on my porch, and then you could see like the crystally snowflakes falling beside us. And it was just beautiful. It's like the natural world is beautiful in all its forms. I like the phrase, there's no bad weather, just bad gear. I mean, let's be honest though, some weather is harder to survive in than others, but it's like, it all has gifts, just like emotions, you know, they all have wisdom.
Yeah, no, totally. I've done my silks in the snow before. Excuse me. I've done my silks in the snow before, and it was awesome. Oh my gosh, it was. Yeah, it was beautiful. It was completely off the charts. The freeze that you're talking about, how'd you make it through that? How was that for you? Because mine was traumatic as hell.
It was a lot, honestly. So the hardest part of it for me was honestly my clients losing power and like losing water because I was worried about them. So I work with I have both a private practice and I work in Marble Falls with kids who don't have basically any money. And so they like suffered. I do a lot of Zoom sessions with them so I can stay connected because transportation can be a problem, but they didn't have internet or anything. So I'm sitting there just like so like worried about them. So when I was able to get in touch with their parents, it was a lot easier for me. But I actually was really like blessed. We didn't lose power. We did lose water. It made me appreciate, made me realize how much water we flushed down the toilet too. Like how many
That's crazy,
gallons
right?
we used. Oh my God. But what I found was really beautiful was that there's a bunch of musicians who actually live around where I live in South Austin. And we came together and I got really close to my current boyfriend now, actually. And we like wrote a song together. And
Who rocks? And by the way, Eddie Robbins.
Eddie Robbins.
Why did he take his one song off Spotify? Because I had it on my top 100 playlists,
No, it's
and
a
it was
great
down to
song.
99. And I'm like, and I had to go through the whole thing and audit it. I'm like, Eddie's is gone.
I know. Texas too, right?
It's a yes, very good tune.
Well, it's because it's getting remastered right now, so it'll be out there again. And I was upset too. I was like, Eddie, where's your song go? But he has a new album coming out too, and I recorded, so my fiddle's going to be on about 3 of the tunes, I think.
Is your violin going to be making an appearance?
I don't know. We'll see. It depends on my mood that day.
Well, and also, I guess the whole violin fiddle thing is kind of like beauty in the eye of the beholder too, right?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, and like really, to whoever's listening to this, and you, Jim, just call it whatever you want to. Just say it with confidence, and it doesn't really matter. Such as the dived and doven situation. What are words, anyways? If you want to make up a new name for the fiddle, go for it. Fiddle-in.
There we go. There we go. So as far as like moving forward, what's like in a perfect world, if you had, so you actually, if you follow our YouTube page, and I've forgotten to plug any of this, but if you subscribe to it, you win a free wish. That's true. And also something it's fall now. And so if you're outside a lot and you catch a leaf that's falling off a tree before it falls, you get a free wish too. Did you know that?
Oh, I love that, Jim. Oh my gosh.
I made that up on dog walks to make them, whenever
maybe
I caught one today. I've caught 4 this year so far.
That's really beautiful. I love autumn. It's my favorite. I love it.
No, totally. But so if you could win, I'll put it this way: if you could win an Oscar, a Pulitzer, a Nobel, or a Grammy, which would you want to win?
Probably a Grammy.
Okay.
Music.
Okay. So is your music's hard. Like there's such that industry, right? I mean, we both know it well, and it just chews you up and spits you out. What's like touring and all that? Like, is that something you guys want to do? I mean, are you able, I guess is what I'm avoiding to ask, with your lifestyle hectic.
So here's the thing. I love that I'm doing this podcast today, and I love that we made it work, because I'm at this point in my life right now where I can feel a lot of change happening. And actually it's been that way for this past year. It's just been like, boo, like it's there's so much change, and it's like almost happening so fast. But what I'm saying is like, it's time for me to make another vision board. I made one for last year. It's this huge thing. And like,
you have a vision board? Of
course.
I'm so not surprised. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It's all happened. All of it has happened. Like, it's wild to me. It's not wild because I believe, and I know that when we do, like, honestly, when you put out there what you want and the clearer you can be, it comes back. And it doesn't always look the way I think it's going to look. And usually it's far more beautiful and like better than I could have ever imagined. But if you put it out there, it comes. Like in general, just ask for what you want, like from the people around you and the universe, and like it will happen. Like almost be careful. I'm like, whoa, I've manifested. I don't know about the word manifest because I don't believe I'm in control, but like, wow, I've called in so many things. And now like, how do I hold all of them? Like, so touring, yes, I want to tour. I also want to have a family. So it's like, but I don't believe that when you have, this is very personal. I can't believe I just said that. Who cares? I'm human. But when you, like, you just bring along the loves around you. You don't have to limit yourself. You know, you bring them with you. Easier for me to say right now, but I just, yeah.
No, that's awesome. That is awesome. And on that note, I will release you to your next commitment, but best of luck with everything, and just promise me that when you're a touring star that you'll still teach yoga.
I will. It's my heart. And that's honestly why when I was talking about earlier that I have to let go of something in my life, it's so I can leave more space for live music yoga and put more energy into that. I have class most weekends, and I have class at my house at noon this weekend and next weekend. I don't know when this podcast is coming out, but you know, if you want more information, you can contact me.
So I wasn't sure. Okay. So I wasn't sure like if I was going to be, you know, and also I've had stalkers in the past. I really, and so I try not to let them know exactly where, but yeah, no, it's in her backyard. And first off, how nice is she to let us practice at her house? And it's such a cool backyard too. What is it about the backyard that just makes it so tranquilo?
It's so special. Honestly, I credit the owner of the house, my roommate, who's been in Europe for like 3 months, but she decorated the whole house and backyard with her friend. And it's just really intentional, like the way she put curtains on the porch. It just looks magical. There's like fairy lights and statues and she just does a really good job. And we have some beautiful tree friends who just like create the energy as well. And like it's a great space. I feel honored and lucky to have it in my life.
Is your roommate, is that the dog whisperer?
Yes, Allegra. Yeah.
So yeah, no, Allegra. So she is, I saw her on a podcast, and I'm a first-time dog owner. And I learned like 3 or 4 huge things just from like watching her, and she's amazing. And then I met her, and I felt like a fanboy. It was funny. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I like peppering her with questions. I'm like, I'm gonna go leave you alone now. But very nice.
Yeah. But I mean, if y'all do want to come to my class, like I like to like get to know you a little bit, so you can just message me on Facebook, because that's a good point, Jen. Like it's important to just feel the energy and make sure, you know.
So how should people find you?
They can find me. So you can put this in maybe show notes or something if they can't remember. But so for my band, we have a Facebook page, Wandering Pines. Just look up Wandering Pines and you'll see a little logo of pines. For my personal, like for the yoga and therapy business, it's called, I think it's like Alice Seitzer Yoga and Therapy. I have a website and a business page, so you can find me there and message me through there. Yeah, and then I do have an Instagram. I'm very new to Instagram, but my handle is at Alice in Wonderland 88. So
I see what you did there. That's you know that's what separates you from the others.
Yeah.
You know, if I had to, you know, break it down to just like one thing, I'm kidding. Trying to encapsulate Alice with one word, you know, would be easy. It would be actually, you know what? I can't think of a single one. See, to me, it's still a yoga teacher, because the yoga classes are like my favorite things. When I saw you had a class this weekend, it literally made my week.
Are you coming? Are you
yes.
gonna come? Yay! Yes.
So this won't be published yet. So stalker, you can't find me there. But I will bring mace.
That energy is hard. That energy is hard.
I know. Damn these good looks. You know what I mean? What can I do? But on that note, thank you very much for taking the time. Good luck with everything. And everyone will be looking for you on a tour or a yoga mat or in nature very soon.
Yes. Great to talk to you, Jim.
Take care, Alice. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Alice Seitzer, and what an amazing human being. Matter of fact, I want to take an informal poll. Sorry, Gunter, what are you doing?
Sorry,
Is that part of your?
it's part of my bodybuilding regimen. I have to eat every hour a raw egg.
Do you have to eat it so messy? Is
There's
that part of the regimen?
only one efficient way to eat it, and I have no other tools here.
No. I mean, you know, when in doubt, Cro-Magnon, man it. Ladies and gentlemen, Gunter's diet. What can I say? There was a rumor that he ate dog food at one time. I don't know where that came from. I wouldn't know that.
Sorry, you were talking about Alice, so because we were...
Well, I was blown away by. Well, first off, I get to know her. I practiced yoga in our backyard this morning, in fact, and it was spiritual. It was fantastic. But I want to take a quick poll. So knowing me now, this version of Jim, is there a better yoga teacher in the world? For me, she did snow yoga. How long have I been asking for snow yoga? Right? It doesn't snow here often. And so I've done aerial, like in the snow, and it was gorgeous. I was like a snow angel. So I wanted to do a yoga class, and Alice does it. So how many of you all think that she is the greatest yoga teacher in the world for me right now?
All
Okay,
six
just
of us.
because you're, well, it's a quasi vote over there because they're wanting to name themselves
sorry,
as the
was
best
it-
teacher.
Is it rhetorical? I didn't know, but...
Well, no, it's annoying. But in your vote, yes?
Yeah, yes.
So with that, Alice Seitzer wins the greatest yoga teacher in the world for this episode trophy. This will be delivered to Alice, and congratulations from everyone here at Man vs. Yoga on this esteemed award. Buddy thanks you as well. Next episode, it gets even hotter. I know, I did that. We're having an amazing fire dancer, the most amazing fire dancer I know, Kate Fuego. So it's Kate, K8, and her last name is Fuego, and that means fire in Spanish. Gunter had Kate at a party, I'll just say a party, and she was phenomenal. She carried the whole thing, and at that point, we were both like, I have so many questions I've always wanted to ask a fire dancer. We get the chance. It'll be awesome. So don't miss that. Thank you to everyone once again in attendance. Thank you so much again, Alice, for doing this interview. You are a beacon of hope in a city of darkness. I'm just kidding. It's not a city of darkness. It's a city of trouble. I'm kidding that too. But we will be back very soon. With that, thank you, universe, bliss for helping us catch the bad people and get the magical gnome back. Bliss to those in attendance. Bliss to those on I-35. Bliss to Gunter. And most of all, bliss to this sweet little buddy Zatva. We will be back soon with more mirth.